How are we doing, Panthers? Welcome back to the Coach's Show. I'm your host, Fletcher Newman, here with Coach Wendel after a long hiatus because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Football can also say the same about their season after the UIL decision to push 5A and 6A football back a month. Now, obviously, teams can still be able to practice. What has been or will be the biggest difference so far due to the delay of the season?
Well, I think just getting back into game routine after practicing for so long, and it became monotonous, and I think everybody was glad to be back in a game week and I have the opportunity to compete and go play in front of people. I think our team feels a feeling of relief, but at the same time grateful and thankful for the opportunity, and it was fun to be back out.
Now, obviously, we've seen practice changes a lot because of the new protocols. So what's been the biggest effect that it's had on the team with everything new that's going around?
A couple things that we've had to do is the players are having to carry their water bottles from station to station. So whenever we do have water breaks, we have to take a little bit longer so they have the opportunity to fill their water bottles up. And that's really from a football standpoint, and then leave their helmet on all the time. And then, be cognizant when you're in the locker room, that type of stuff, having a mask. But it hasn't been that much different.
Now, on the top of the last Friday's game, great win, especially on the offensive side. 49 points on the night. Dylan Lampkins with 3 touchdowns. What did you feel was working for your offense on Friday?
I felt like we were able to get the ball on the perimeter more. I thought Nick played a fantastic game at quarterback, minus the one turnover. Probably as good as quarterback plays we've had in 5 years. He just really did a good job of reading the option. The offensive line helps when you're getting movement. I thought we made progress between the scrimmage and the first game with our offensive line, and then the perimeter blocking was really good. I thought our receivers blocked well for a first game, and we're getting off the ball. And I think the ability to be able to complete a few passes, stretch the field a little bit, and made them cover more and created more space for Dylan to run and Ethan to run and that type of stuff. So overall, the offense worked fairly well. We've got some things that we feel like we need to work on. And I would say outside of the first quarter, our defense really settled in and played pretty well too, holding a talented team to 17 points.
Now let's take a look at some of the highlights from the Brewer game.
You want me to talk about them?
Sorry, Coach.
I guess.
I thought it was a good cutback by Dylan there. We've got a touchdown pass here to Dylan Lampkins. Good solid protection up front with the offensive line. Ethan steps up in the hole. Real simple, just our wheel route that we throw to the slot. Diego gets through on a misdirection play here. Good pull by Brock Cavender. Good wraparound by Jace Martin. And then Diego has a real good run, gets caught down at the end. Brenton came in and had a really good game fourth quarter and hit the hole really hard, and a good touchdown run, strong run by Brenton Huffman right there. And David Smith reads the midline option well, gets up in B gap, good protection by the Hesselgesser at right tackle, and David goes in for a touchdown.
Now let's take a look at some of the results from the other teams in our district this week.
Birdville didn't get to play because they had the COVID deal. Centennial came back 38-34 against their rival in Burleson High. Centennial won in the last minute of that ball game. Mansfield Legacy opened with a win against Byron Nelson. Richland beat Haltom in dominant fashion. Then Ennis dominated Red Oak 52-21. And then Colleyville Heritage got after their rival and crosstown rival in Grapevine 48-24. Just goes to show, I think everybody in our district that played won, with the exception, obviously, Birdville didn't get to play. So it's going to be a tough district.
Now we have a player with us here today. Coach, tell us who's back. Tell us about who's here.
Ethan Hill's here. Seems like he's been with us a long time. We've been relying on him at fullback for 2 years. He's a 3-year starter this year. Runs really, really hard. He's kind of a leader on our team. He's always got a great attitude and works hard every day at practice, and just enjoy having him around and his leadership. And I feel very comfortable with him at the position at fullback, and that's kind of where our offense starts. And he's a good high school football player, but a better person, and enjoy having him in our program.
All right, let's take it over to Ethan. Ethan, how are you doing today?
Doing great.
Well, Ethan, obviously a bunch of the changes, especially in practice. Coach talked about it a little bit earlier, but what has been the biggest difference this year coming out of last year for you so far?
Well, it's kind of just like you never know what's going to happen. I mean, it could get canceled at any time. We could have a 2-week delay like the Birdville in our district, and so you just never know when it's going to be the last practice, so you just go out every day with that mentality.
How excited were you and the rest of the team to get back onto the field on Friday?
Oh, it was so exciting. It's just practicing longer than we usually do, so getting out there was just something we all needed really bad.
How did you feel your team performed in the game against Brewer?
I think the whole team did great. The offensive line, I can't do anything without them. They did amazing. They did a fantastic job.
Thanks, Ethan. Coach, this week we travel out to Forney to face the Rabbits, but due to the circumstances of the times, the regiment and Pantherettes will not be traveling to away games. What kind of effect will that have on the game?
Well, we've talked about that in our locker room. We're going to have to create our own energy by performing and making plays, and then celebrating those successes together. Bring us closer together as a family, and rely on each other a little bit more. We love playing at MISD Stadium in front of our crowd and in front of the band and the Pantherettes, cheer and all that, and that creates some energy for us. And the challenge this week is really to create our own energy.
Now, what kind of challenges does Forney bring to the table?
Well, I think they're really good on defense. White House scored 31 points on them, but really Forney gave them at least 14, maybe 21 on special teams, gave them a real short field. And I think they're big and strong on defense. I think they'll pose a challenge to our offensive line. I think they're well coached on defense and do a lot of good stuff offensively. They've got about 4 juniors that they rely on most of the time to get the ball to. They're real big up front. They've got a left-handed strong-arm quarterback, and they'll try to spread it around the field. It'll be a challenge, but one I think that we're up to, and ought to go over there and perform well.
Now, we know last year there was a theme that you pushed in practice every week. So what has been the theme for this week, and how will we see y'all play that out on the field?
Really kind of been twofold. We feel like it's really important to get off to a fast start. So we've talked about starting fast in practice, starting fast on Friday night. But the real theme for week 2, and it's usually this theme, I know it has been the last couple of years anyway, is improve. Most teams improve a lot from the scrimmage to the first game, and then the opportunity to improve from week 1 to week 2. We need to see improvement in our tackling. We need to see improvement in finishing plays on the offensive line. We need to see improvement in our special teams. So the focus really is improving. But you don't do that just on Friday night. You have to make a choice in the way that you practice Monday through Thursday.
Well, that does it for this week's Coach's Show. Thanks to Coach Wendel and Ethan Hill for being with us today. This week we play at Forney at Citibank Stadium starting at 7:30 p.m. Make sure you're following all COVID-19 protocols at the game and have a safe drive out there. See you next week.